What's going on YouTube? On this episode of Union Talk, I'm going to be talking about Filipino martial arts ranking, specifically in our system, which is called the Bias Tres Manos system. Now, before we break down the types of ranking as well as the order, I want to give a little bit on what I actually feel about ranking. A lot of times it's overlooked as kind of unworthy, or it's something that isn't truly part of you. And while that can be true in some cases, what I think it means for most people is that it is an accomplishment, it is a milestone and achievement, it is a point in time in which you earn, but it's not a definition of who you are. Right? Just because you have this title, just because you have this rank does not define you or your skill in martial arts. When it comes to that, I do believe that in the ranking system, you need to understand that although time could play a factor into which degrees you have or which rank you have, it shouldn't be the only prerequisite. It shouldn't be the only requirement, because true ranking is what you make of it, and that is the merit. So what you do for your martial arts community, what do you do for your art, for your system, are you doing good with it? Are you expanding, evolving? Those are the things that should weigh much more than time, because when it comes to time, you could, rarely be doing anything but be consistent in training. And if that's the case, then by X amount of days, you should become a grandmaster, right? With no significant contributions to the art, no significant improvements to teaching. So again, for me, and especially something that I emphasize at Union Martial Arts, is the merit should outweigh the time frame. And of course, with the time frame would ultimately help you understand the levels of maturity. But I think that the skill and the techniques that you possess and that you gain will give you that maturity as well. To understand the concept of the technique does require maturity. Okay, so when it comes to the Bias Tres Manos ranking, we have two separate rankings for our karate or KUNTAO, and we also have a ranking for the Kali program that we have here. They do technically follow the same structure, the same ranking and title, but I'll kind of give you play-by-play some slight differences. So for instance, in both systems, we have a color system prior to the black belt level. In Kali, we wear sashes instead of belts, and then in the KUNTAO, we have the belts to coordinate which rank we are. Now, specifically at Union Martial Arts, we go from white belt, yellow belt, green belt, blue belt, brown belt, and then ultimately your first degree black belt. With all of those colors, you would receive 4 technical stripes, and those 4 stripes will focus on the criteria that you are currently working on, whether it be punches, kicks, blocks, stances, sparring, so on and so forth. So you would earn 1 stripe at a time, and by 4 stripes, you should have all the prerequisites in order to be graded for the next rank. When you look at Kali, Kali has no stripes, and it also does not have a white belt. Okay, so in Kali, it follows more of like the tribal standard. You start off as a no sash, and when you gain the basics, the fundamentals, then you would be awarded your yellow sash and officially be a part of the clan or the tribe or the school. So not that you're not a part of it when you first join, but we follow that ranking in order to honor the culture and the history behind our Filipino martial arts. The color system is meant more as a base. It's meant as almost not a prerequisite, but the setup before the black belt. And essentially when you hit that first degree, then it's almost like a reset button. And then from that point, with a decent understanding, a good foundation in martial arts, are you able to really explore and see the ventures that martial arts can give you, specifically in the Bias Tres Manos curriculum. So in your black belt rankings, we have 14 total degrees, from first degree all the way to 14th degree. And in the words of my Grandmaster John Bias, he says 14th if you're lucky to still be alive. Now, we start all the way back at first degree. You also are able to obtain titles, and these are specific titles to either the rank or your status as an instructor. So generally, first and second degree is what we call tagapagturo, which is assistant instructor. This is when you start getting the ability to teach class, not entirely on your own, but starting to get the momentum into becoming a teacher. Moving forward into the third and fourth degree, you would now obtain the rank of what's called guro. Guro is the equivalent of a full instructor. In jiu-jitsu, it's pretty much a professor. Okay, so now you're teaching on your own. You have spent your years and you've collected those reps, those miles in becoming a teacher, and now you're more confident and able to do it on your own. Okay, when you move on to fifth degree is what we call punong guro. Punongguro is our head instructor. So now you have 4 degrees of technical training and the ability to teach under your belt, and now you've become a senior instructor. After your 5th degree, and during your 5th degree, is when you would start your preparations into becoming a master. So now you have master responsibilities, but you're not technically at the master level when you are the Punongguro. Now in Kali and KUNTAO, you would wear a black sash, and it would remain the same up until your 5th degree. And in KUNTAO, you would have a black belt, and for each degree you earn, you would obtain a red stripe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for all 5 degrees. Now when you progress into the 6th degree, your belt changes from the black belt into a red, white, and blue belt. And I'm going to touch base on that first before I go into the ranks and the titles. So red is considered a mastery color in Filipino martial arts, especially in the Bias Tres Manos system. So in the color system, white is the absolute beginner and red is mastery. Somewhere in between white and black is the color blue, which is kind of intermediate, right? So you are now a full master, but you are more of like a beginner master. So that's what the white symbolizes. And then the blue reaffirms that you are not a beginner in the black belt cycle, but you are not towards the end or towards the latter half of seniority in being a senior master. Now the title you would receive in the 6th degree is what's called Maestro, and Maestro is our master rank. Okay, so now you have not only the master responsibilities, but the master credibility, and normally at this point you are pretty much the face of your chapter or your organization, unless you have a senior instructor who's currently with you as well. Moving on from your 6th degree, you move on to your 7th degree. 7th and 8th degree share the same title. 7th degree in KUNTAO, we have a red, white, and now instead of blue, the blue was substituted for red. So you are a complete master, but you are in the phase 1 of the full master cycle. Okay, so we're in red, white, red. In Kali, you would start to wear a red sash now. And so 7th degree and 8th degree, you are able to have the rank of Datu, and Datu is translated back into tribe leader. And so in the entire tribe, you would know who the Datu is, and specifically, sometimes that Datu is not technically the 7th or 8th degree. It is a title that's given to them based off of their merit, based off their ability to lead the entire group together. The only difference between 7 and 8 is you will find it in KUNTAO, and it goes from red, white, and red to red, black, and red. Okay, so once you get to that 8th degree, you are now wearing almost the senior master belt, and you are working towards your progression to kind of the top of the food chain. So after your 8th degree, you're going to progress towards your 9th degree, and this rank is called Sultan. And so the Sultan is the senior master. He is the one this is your steps into becoming a grandmaster. So there are 2 ranks before our grandmaster, still wearing the red sash, still wearing that red, black, and red belt. After your 9th degree, you're going to get to the big 10. And for most systems, 10 is usually where it stops, and 10 is your grandmaster in many martial arts. In ours, the rank is specifically called Maestro de Maestro, or Master of Masters. So this is the equivalent of Punongguro back at 5th degree, but now you are prepping yourself again for the final stages on becoming the Grand Master, or in our case, Grand Maestro. And so 1 degree later, you have now obtained the Grand Maestro rank. This is the red belt, still wearing the red sash. You are essentially the top of the top, and from this point on, it's just seniority of Grandmaster versus other Grandmaster, if there are enough Grandmasters to even have a hierarchy. Now, moving forward, these last 3 ranks, okay, again, in the words of my Grand Maestro, if you're lucky, if you're still alive, because you don't get tested. Essentially, you don't get tested after 6th degree. It is based off of your merit. It's based off of your service to your community. And so it's not really much of a technical standard when it comes from Maestro and above. So especially at Grand Maestro, there is no more technical testing. There's no merits, because your work has already been passed on to your students, who are now probably senior masters, and their students are probably guros and tagapagturos. And so your work is living through your students. And now this is where we get into kind of the hierarchy. You've already obtained the highest point of the Bias Tres Manos system, the highest honor, which is the Grand Maestro. And so after your 11th degree, when you obtain your Grand Maestro, Based off of seniority, you would move on to your 12th degree, which is tuhon. And tuhon is a very familiar term when it comes to many different Filipino martial arts systems. Tuhon means teacher. In our case, this is kind of the utmost honorable teacher in the system. For a very prominent figure in Filipino martial arts, Mr. Danny Lozano, a lot of people you will see will call him Guro as just teacher, and he doesn't really care about the ranks. But then a lot of other people will call him Tuhon in order to acknowledge the work that he's done for the Filipino martial arts community. He is absolutely up there and very well deserving of that rank. And so Tuhon sits at number 12 in the Bias Tres Manos system. Number 13, following the Maestro de Maestro to Grand Maestro concept, you go from Tuhon to Grand Tuhon. And then finally, when you reach 14th degree, if you reach 14th degree, you would obtain the rank of Great Grandmaster, and the rank is called Grand Apo. So 14 degrees in both our KUNTAO and our KALI. You can earn them separately. You can earn them one art at a time. Normally in Union Martial Arts, people earn them at the same time at different rates because in KALI there is a little more technical things to look at than we have on the KUNTAO side. When it's all said and done, ranking, the degrees on the belt itself, it is just part of it's an orientation for you to use as an instructor in terms of signifying who should you be looking towards in order to help you get to that next step. But ranking is what you make of it. Ranking is a point in time, though it could be a very proud moment. The things that'll make your ranks worth something is what you do in the gym. It's what you do on the mats, and it's what you do with your students and your peers. Hope you guys enjoyed this little cultural and historical lesson on Filipino martial arts and the Bias Tres Manos system. Let me know, comment below if you guys have similar rankings. What do you feel about rankings? Do you agree with what I think? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and support our company, support our brand. Hit that like button on this video and make sure you follow us on our social media. Our online teaching site, FMA Concepts, is launching very shortly. All the links are below. Stay up to date with us, and we'll see you guys in the next video.